What do the cacao tree and the linden tree have in common? You can use the fruits of both to make chocolate. We all know cacao produces the cocoa beans that are used to make the chocolate we all know and love, but you can also make a wild chocolate from the linden tree, commonly called a lime tree in the UK, but nothing to do with the citrus lime. In June and July, I like to harvest the flowers for linden tea, but after the flowers, the nut-like fruits containing seeds form, and that's what we can use to make chocolate. Before we all get too excited though, I must point out that what you can make from the linden tree is not true chocolate, but rather a substitute or alternative that resembles chocolate in some ways. Interesting fact relating to this, the linden and cacao tree are distantly related, both being in the mallow family. There are many variations on how to do it. First of all, harvest the nut-like fruits of the linden tree. I recommend a minimum 70 grams, and that's what I'm going to use to show you the process. Just a small amount to show for demonstration purposes. I harvest them when they're green, but when all leftover flower parts are gone. And I only harvest ones that are at least the size of a pea. In the UK, I'd say from mid-July right through August is probably peak time to harvest them. Once home, I destalk them so I just have the fruits and no other bits attached. I then preheat the oven to 180 degrees C and put the fruits on a baking tray with parchment paper, and then put them in the preheated oven to roast the fruits. If it's a fan oven like mine, then roast them for about 40 to 45 minutes. If it's not a fan oven, they might need up to an hour. You want them browned but not burnt and fragrant with a pleasant but very mild aroma. When done, take them out and let them cool a bit, and then grind them up in a spice or coffee grinder. I then put the powder through a sieve to remove larger pieces, so I've just got a nice fine powder to use. I find that 70 grams of the linden fruits gives me about 10 to 12 grams of roasted and ground powder, but to keep things simple for this demonstration, I'm just going to use 10 grams of the powder. Once you've got the 10 grams of fine powder, add 4 or 5 grams of caster sugar and mix that up, and then weigh out about 20 grams of coconut oil in a pan. So I heat up the coconut oil, and once heated and watery, I just add it to the powder and mix it all up into a smooth paste-like liquid. I then pour or put the paste into ice cube trays, and then I refrigerate them until it sets. I normally like to leave them a few hours to properly solidify. Pop one out when you want to eat it, and keep the rest in the fridge for up to a month. It does have a short shelf life, so don't make too much unless you plan on eating a lot or freezing a lot. There are many variations of what I've just done there, such as using maple syrup or honey as your sweetener instead of pure sugar. If using honey or maple syrup, I'd use about 10 grams worth in the demonstration recipe that I've just gone through, and somewhere between 15 and 20 grams of coconut oil. Heating them both in a pan and adding it together to the powder. And then it's just a case of mixing it up into a paste or paste-like liquid and following the same steps that I've just shown you. You can also add a greater ratio of sugar or sugar equivalent to make the chocolate sweeter. You could add a pinch of vanilla bean powder to the mixture. There are better ways to do this if you wanted to create the absolute best chocolatey product possible, but here I wanted to keep things simple and produce this, which believe me is still pretty amazing.